This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Dumpster Diving. It's our first dumpster diving since we've been back, and we've got a treat for you, right, Mike?
Yeah, this is an extra specially long dumpster dive. It's the I don't know what year this movie came out in, but it's the Adam Sandler joint Click.
2003, I want to say? I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm
2006.
What I was. Oh, okay, that all makes sense then. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm like, oh, I'll give this movie a chance for some reason. It was on Netflix, and it still is, as far as I know. And I don't know why I couldn't turn it off, but it was just very, very not a good movie. It's a very bad.
So, you famously love That's My Boy. As we've discovered, we've done an audio commentary for That's My Boy, and I think we've talked about it a little bit on the show. But this one is not your cup of tea. So what? For those of you that don't know, the plot of Click is that Adam Sandler goes to the Beyond part of Bed Bath & Beyond. Very clever there. And
which I think is a joke from an Onion headline like 20 years ago.
Right.
Oh, it really is.
That does not surprise me at all. But he gets a remote from Christopher Walken, that universal remote that controls his entire universe. So he can. I mean, I had this idea, not like, this exact movie, but I think every one of us at some point in our age group where remote controls were sort of ubiquitous were, like, hey, what if we had a remote control that could really, like, lower someone's volume that we didn't want to listen to, or pause, life for everybody else but us, and fast forward and rewind. And that's basically what it does. But for some reason, like a TiVo, I guess, it learns his habits even after only one time of doing something, and says, oh, well, you want to do this every single time then, obviously. And then it just does it on its own for whatever reason. But yeah, that's kind of the plot of the movie, and then he learns a lesson. It's a spin on the dad works too much, and he doesn't see my swim meet and my acting and my play and stuff like that. He spends too much time at work and not enough time at home. So it's a spin on that, which is, a cliche basically at this point. But that's kind of what the movie is. So Mike, what is it that you don't like about the movie?
This whole thing is a mess, like from the very opening parts. Like, for example, Adam Sandler is like a young architect trying to make it. He's like 45 in this movie. How is he not?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I mean, he's clearly at his second career if he's like a young up-and-coming architect.
Right. He didn't make it as a professional golfer, apparently.
Or hockey player or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, what's odd here is his boss is played by David Hasselhoff, and this made me realize I don't know why more people don't hire David Hasselhoff. He's really good at this.
He is. I really do enjoy him in this movie.
I mean, I've seen Baywatch at that age.
Right.
And I think when I was really little, I liked Knight Rider, but I think I like the toys more. But yeah, I don't know why he's not in more things. He's really good as like an asshole boss.
Yeah, absolutely. He plays a very good asshole.
Yeah. No, I was the asshole.
So I have I don't know how to describe this. But I have a unique not relationship, but like thought on this movie, I guess. I don't think this movie's funny almost at all. I don't think there's one joke that I laughed at in this movie.
I think it was more bewildered than anything else by it. It was just a very weird movie. Like there's no internal consistency to the logic of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's like, oh, it learns your habits, but then if it's automating everything, then is that really his habits? I mean, like you said, you're basing it off of like one day is like his entire life, and like what happens in the movie is he like skips ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So like he'll like oh he's like I'll do this until I get that big promotion, but instead of a month, it's like a year, and that kind of shit happens throughout the entire movie. There's like big jumps in time. The part that was really weird to me is, among others, is that he goes to Christopher Walken. Did we mention that he plays the guy who sells him the remote?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it.
Yeah, but I mean, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm the devil." He's like, "What? This makes no sense at all." Like he's suddenly it's suddenly like, "Oh, let's make it like that Twilight Zone show." Like halfway through it, like they don't really understand because they realize it doesn't make any fucking sense why this like weirdo and like a portal and like Bed Bath and Beyond like has this magic. Like the device is magic. That's all. It's not for all intents and purposes. It's a magic wand.
Yes, exactly. To be fair, he's the angel of death.
That's right, the angel of death. Yeah. My apologies. But yeah, it was weird because, for example, his wife. I'd never seen her in a movie before. I'm like, oh, she's very attractive. I guess that's Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, it is. I know. I was taken aback too because she looks good in this movie.
Shouldn't have her fucking hand, arm deep in a fucking vampire, or was she the wolf?
No, I think she was.
I've never seen those. I don't know.
I haven't seen them either, but I think she's one of. I think.
But now I kind of want to.
Right. Yeah, but so
with the sound off,
I have to admit that for some reason I kind of like this movie.
Really, it's a really it's like the cliche of cliches. I mean, it's like it's the movie. Is it called Remote Control with John Hughes?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that was largely a vehicle for a parody, I believe, or it's like Hot Tub Time Machine. That's It's almost exactly Hot Tub Time Machine, but they go forward into the back. Well, I think they go forward in Hot Tub Time Machine too, but that's not as good of a Hot Tub Time Machine related vehicle.
Like I freely admit that this is a bad movie. But for some reason...
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, That's My Boy is a very bad movie.
But for some reason, I like it. I don't know why. And I'm definitely in the minority. Because, I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score. I looked up a lot of the reviews. Most people think this movie's terrible. I think I just saw it at a certain period in my life or time in my life where it was like... This was kind of like the last gasp of Adam Sandler. This is basically sort of like the gateway of him beginning to do... all the like cliche stuff that he does and a lot of the bad movies that he does after this. And there's a lot of his staples. So like product placement, obviously Bed Bath and Beyond. I noticed some other, I wish I would have taken notes.
Subway is a common one. I don't know if it was in this one or not.
Yeah, and I think Coca-Cola or something like that, because most of these movies are made by Sony and Sony owns Coca-Cola. And then, there's a lot of potty humor in it that, and like bizarre sexual humor. Like he's talking about how hot this chick is and everything that his son is posing with. And his son's like, yeah, it's your daughter. So yeah, there's a lot of like that stuff that becomes cliche in a lot of Sandler movies, but it's like, it's kind of the first time I saw it, I guess. So it wasn't as egregious to me as it later became. But I don't know why. There's just something about the movie that, like, the forced sentimentality works in a weird way. And when Adam Sandler's like playing the serious parts where he's not trying to be funny, I think he's decent in the movie. But like I said, the movie doesn't make me laugh at all. It's not a comedy in any way.
Yeah, it's a very. I don't really understand the movie. I mean, like Adam Sandler movies, even today, are like a fucking coin flip. I mean, the first couple were pretty good, and then it started to kind of fall apart. But then every so often, he'll release a movie that I really like. The other movie that I really liked, actually, that was David Spade, The Do-Over. Like I thought that would be really bad, but that was actually I liked that one. Oh yeah, he is in that one. That's correct. I forgot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's very hit or miss, and it's mostly miss, and it's just like I think I mentioned before that. Yeah, I know he was like Oscar, buzz about that
Uncut
Hidden Gems, Uncut Gems, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
When he was like upset that it was, I mean, he has to do like 50 Citizen Kanes to get back in the fucking positive,
Right.
Like, there'll be a legacy award for like being like, well, he was in Malcolm X, so we'll give him an award for Training Day. That's the most famous one I know of.
Right.
I'd have to be like, well, he did do, Citizen Kane 1 through 10, and each one got better than the last one. So I get there, and we'll see about a legacy down the line. I mean, he just says, he just is. I guess people like watching him for some reason because I feel that this movie was written like I said, halfway through the movie, like, oh yeah, Angel of Death or whatever it was. They had,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I can't argue with anything you're saying. Like a lot of it, it's very, like you said, it's very inconsistent. I've never understood the whole like he skips one sickness, one cold, and from that point on, the remote control's like, oh, you always want to skip anytime you're sick, even when you're in a coma for years. It's
Right.
like makes no sense at all.
Well, I wouldn't want to miss that.
But I guess the whole point is that he chooses work over his family. And then at the end of the movie, like at the end of the movie, he dies. He says goodbye to his family members. Sean Astin's in this movie for some reason wearing a Speedo. Like,
Yeah, he's a sexy guy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. John Astin's pudgy little son is the sex symbol in this movie. But anyway, the Angel of Death, Christopher Walken decides to
Maybe this is actually a sequel to the Prophecy movies. It's where the brain goes to die.
Oh my god.
So I think he played the Angel of Death in those movies too.
He did. Oh my god. Oh. But so he for some reason, and I guess this whole time it's supposed to be a test or a lesson or something like that. He lets him go back in time to, when he first got the control and make the right decisions. Basically, like he's showing him the folly of his ways and everything. And it's just, I don't know, it's like it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like he's the Angel of Death. Like why is he doing this? Like his job is to ferry people from life to the afterlife. Why is he like it reminds me of an amalgamation of a bunch of different movies. So like I don't know if you ever saw The Family Man with Nicolas Cage, where
I think I did, yeah. Isn't that where he's like a tire salesman? He's like, but what if I was a businessman?
Right. Actually, it's the other way around. He's this super successful businessman.
That's right. Yeah.
But
And I remember Don Cheadle's in it at some point.
Yeah. Don Cheadle's the angel in that one. But it's
He's
like,
the magical black guy that was in the 90s and 2000s movies where an African American man has all the wisdom and he's possibly ghost.
yeah, he's some kind of angel, I think. But he stereotypically meets him because Don Cheadle's trying to turn in a lottery ticket that he claims is legitimate, but the racist guy behind the counter, the Arabic guy, says no, it's not. It's a fake, and whatever. But yeah, so the story of that movie is Nicolas Cage is a super successful businessman, but what if he was married to Tia Leone? So.
I feel that if you were a super successful businessman, you could get mini Tia Leone.
Yeah, that's my guess as well. But so it's kind of like that, and it's kind of like Hook, the Robin Williams Peter Pan movie, where he's he's too much wrapped up in his work life, and then he realizes what it's like to to be with his kids and all this stuff. That's sort of those two movies. That's what I think of when I think of it.
I just realized the world's missing. They need the opposite. Where like a poor guy like has like an alternate life where he's like a rich guy. And he's like yeah, fuck yeah. He just like changes his mind so quickly. He just abandons his family and kids. He's like, well, I guess kids are part of the family, but yeah, he's like, fuck this, and he's like just dies within like a month because he's just being so extreme.
The angel's like, but you don't you see that you became the successful thing that you wanted to, but look at all the people you've hurt along the way and stuff. I don't fucking care.
They're fucking losers.
I'm in a Lamborghini.
He's just doing coke off a hooker while he's driving his Lamborghini.
Right. Oh, that'd be great. And
then of course
Scorsese directs it.
And of course, it turns out to be the devil the whole time, and like you get like the hand over the mouth as the end comes on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who is the devil played by? Martin Lawrence, I would think. Or wait. Since the devil, it's got to be a white guy.
Right.
I think that's how that works.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson, or bring Gene Hackman out of retirement.
No, you have to use a computer-generated image of Roy Orbison.
There you go.
Just remember how, like, actually, just make it even more offensive. Like, you remember how, like, back, like, when they'd have, like, Humphrey Bogart and, like, vacuum commercials and that kind of stuff?
Yes.
And everybody was, like, upset about it. Just, like, find, like, somebody who was really religious. Just have to be, like, the devil in the movie.
Oh, my
just you can find it somehow.
Yeah.
Free publicity.
Who would be like Bing Crosby or somebody like that? Like somebody, like, famously very Catholic.
The last pope before John Paul.
Wait,
the most freshly dead pope.
Okay, that'd be John Paul II.
Oh, that guy's dead.
That's the most freshly dead pope.
Was that the one before the evil one?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know he died.
The evil one is still alive.
I know he's still alive.
Yeah. A lot of people don't talk about that, but yeah, popes don't normally retire. But that's how bad this Pope Benedict was, is that he retired. I mean, the thing...
He can be as discreet as the actual Pope, so he retired to pursue his interests.
Right. He was a Nazi youth, and that's maybe the least disturbing thing about him.
Nice.
So, just so you know. But yeah, so Benedict's still alive. Pope John Paul II's the most freshly dead pope. So yes, he could play the devil in this movie.
There we go.
Oh, that's the best. All right, we wrote a movie. We wrote a movie that's better than Click.
Well, that's not saying much. But what will we call this movie? Life in the Fast Lane?
Oh, that'd be good. Because we could use that song.
We'll also use that song. Yep, the song.
Just hit it right on the head. That'll be the trailer. The trailer will be Life in the Fast Lane.
It'll just completely summarize. In fact, I think it only needs to be a trailer. I don't think we need anything beyond that.
No, yeah, we can just do a trailer. I've actually thought about...
It will just spoil the ending at the end of the trailer.
We'll have a picture of
was that the Pope?
Pope Jean Paul II, and his eyes are just glowing red.
But can you get a picture with his hand over his mouth?
Oh my god!
I feel that part's very important.
Oh, I meant to tell you, I'm having like an idea of what I want to do as far as like expansion and video stuff goes. And don't worry, it won't involve you having to do any more work. But what I'm thinking about doing, although we could do extra stuff too a little bit sometimes.
No, I don't think so.
But what I'm thinking about doing is starting a YouTube channel for just for the podcast, and basically taking audio clips of different shows that we do, kind of like I did before, but more longer form. And I've
more longer form.
And very good English too.
Wait a second. Did the most recent Pope write this for you?
But I have a new editing software where I can make a little bit better videos than I was making before. So I'm thinking about doing that, just taking segments from the show and then...
Wow, a little bit better. Can you really deliver on that?
It's a tall order, but I'm going to try. So maybe...
That's your company's slogan, a little bit better.
So maybe one of the first things I'll do is make that trailer for Life in the Fast Lane. So check that out in the next few days on YouTube. If I make the channel tonight or tomorrow, I'll link it in the description of this below.
Yeah, let me know. That sounds fun.
But
I got all sorts of trailers coming your way.
But I was thinking that we could also just kind of talk about like whatever, we could just record something like a small little like 10-minute thing or whatever where we're talking about, I don't know, some news story or something that like, that interests us, and then the
coronavirus.
And then I could make a video about it. Yeah. We could do a humorous video about the coronavirus.
Yeah. Probably not.
Oh, Corona. The Corona beer is down 40%, I think, their stocks.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, whenever you think that, humanity is like, going to be going places, look at shit like that.
Yep.
Because you have two people involved in that. People who are dumb enough to think it's the same thing, and then the other people who are anticipating that people are dumb enough to think it's the same thing.
Exactly. Oh, I don't want Corona, no.
like, well, a bunch of fucking idiots are going to confuse us with the virus, so I better, sell off my stock and create a panic.
It's kind of like when I don't know. Well, our audience is probably too young to remember this, but in the late '70s, early '80s, there was a candy called AIDS. It was it was sugar-free candy for diabetic people, but it was called AIDS candy.
Yeah, I've seen the commercials on like YouTube. Obviously, I was too young for it to actually be aware of it.
Mm. But then AIDS actually happened. So it's unfortunate.
Jeez, I don't think we can go one podcast without bringing up AIDS. I think people who had AIDS would speak about it less than we do.
We do talk about AIDS, 9/11, and Nazis a lot.
Yeah, off the air, you talk about the Jews like way more than I'm comfortable with.
Well, yeah, off air, but I mean,
And the way you say you're like
it's the hard J.
It's a hard E.
Yeah, that's right. Jews.
Speaking of AIDS, I just had a recollection of a horrifying story from my youth.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I don't know, I was probably like 10. No, I had to be less than 10. I was probably 8. My dad and my brother went up to like the local school, and we were like riding our bikes because we were just learning. So I was going on a loop, and I fell, and I skinned my knee really bad.
Okay.
And then luckily, I found a piece of cloth on the ground.
Oh God.
So not being the germ-phobic I am now, I picked it up. I put it on my knee, and the expression of horror on my father's face was like, no!
Like it was in slow motion.
It really did seem like I can only really appreciate that as a parent, but it was just like at the time, like I can only imagine.
Oh my God. I think your wife was here for this story too. I think, but where I grew up, our next door neighbor apparently had some problems with drugs. And one time I found a syringe on his front lawn. And I think she
was he diabetic too?
No, I think she was there. I think she was there for that as well. But I remember bringing it to my mom, and my mom was like, "Oh my God!" And because who knows what kind of fucking diseases could be on it. But yeah, that's. I remember her saying something about AIDS, like, "Do you never want to touch a needle? There's AIDS out there and stuff like that."
Remember how we didn't know this? I mean, didn't we ever watch a single episode of TV during the 80s? Like they all had their special.
Yeah, kids were getting AIDS all over.
He's got AIDS, but it's okay. What was it we watched? Was it Alf for the kid had AIDS?
No, it was Wait, was it Alf?
It might have been Small Wonder.
Yeah, I think it was Small Wonder. Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was Mr. Belvedere.
That's right.
Because Mr. Belvedere was really suspiciously knowledgeable.
Yeah. He knew a lot about the AIDS crisis.
He's like, get the pits at the bathhouse. What, Mr. Belvedere?
Oh my God! Speaking of the Jews, though,
I feel that Mr. Belvedere would put a doily over it if he did instead of a condom.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's more sophisticated.
He's not gonna raw dog some guy.
You remember Neil, who we went to school with, right? For some reason,
you mean Neil Clements? Yeah. Clements?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't remember why I did this, but
you gave him AIDS.
I made up a song about him, called "Neil Has AIDS," and I used to sing it to him, and he hated it so much. But like, I'd be in class, and Neil has AIDS, and he's gonna die. T cell counts below the number pi.
And he turned and started reciting pi in order.
Neil's got AIDS, and it's true. He could die from the common flu.
Wow.
I used to sing that to him. I have no idea why. But just for the audience out there, one time we asked Neil if he knew what a blowjob was.
I was going to tell you to say this.
And Neil's response was, "Of course, I know what it is." And so he said, "What is it?" And he goes, "It's when you pay for sex." And I think
Poor Neil.
I think he was 16 or 17 at the time.
They've been 15, but yeah, it was definitely where you should know what that is, or at least have watched movies about that.
Right. Oh.
Maybe if you don't fucking jerk off your hamster all day, you'll get out there and live your life.
Exactly. I have no idea what he's doing now. Remember when we tried to visit him at Rochester College in upstate New York?
Yeah, and he wasn't there. I mean, what the fuck was he doing? Studying, probably?
Yeah, we saw his dorm room door. That's what we saw. So Neil, if you're listening,
And left a harrowing message.
yeah, that's right. That's right. On his little whiteboard on the back of his door. Oh, so Neil, if you're listening to this, we tried to see you.
And that's why we're so mad, because you didn't even say hi.
That was pre 9/11, right? I think it was like 99.
Probably.
Yeah, because we went through the border in Quebec. We're coming back from Quebec because we went to drink at a bar there because the drinking age was 18. Yeah, it was 99, and the border guard coming back into the United States looks at us and goes, "You guys got any guns or anything?" And we go, "No," and he's like, "Go ahead."
Actually, I think that was going from it was going from underneath Toronto back into the U.S.
Oh yeah,
Because we went back from Quebec. They really gave us a hard time because they thought we were drunk when I didn't even drink at that time. So
yeah. This was I think it was $15 for a band, and it was all you could drink. And Mike is, no stranger to alcohol now. At the time, didn't drink at all. Do you ever look back on that and think, fuck, man, what a deal that I missed?
No, I've actually stopped drinking.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I just kind of lost the taste for it. I mean, I've tried. I mean, I'm not never touching it again. Every so often, I'll drink like a beer, but I can never really finish it. It just doesn't. I just lost the taste for it.
Oh, interesting.
Now, liquor. It really is quicker.
Well, that's Click.
Yeah, you might want to drink if you're watching Click, or maybe just give yourself a head injury.
Yeah, but I don't know. Let us know what you think of the movie Click. Do you inexplicably like it for some weird reason, like I do, or?
And if you did like it, please stop selling your stock in Corona. It's not the same thing.
Exactly. They just both mean crown. That's all. And eating Chinese food's fine. Don't worry about eating Chinese food. Chinese food in the United States isn't real Chinese food.
Although, oddly enough, it's often made by real Chinese people.
Yes, that's true.
Explain that one to me.
I don't get it. I mean, I guess technically then it is Chinese food, right?
Or is it China? Or are they appropriating our culture and copying our recipes?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what they call Chinese food over there in China?
Go ahead.
Food. I know he saw that coming.
Yeah, I was about to say it, and then I was like, nah, he can say it.
You let me take credit for that one, thanks. All right, we should probably end this one.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's Click. I've seen worse. Mike, I don't know if you're in for this or not. I mean, I think you've already watched it, and I'll definitely watch it as well. But if you guys want to prepare for next week, I think we're going to do Showgirls 2.
Oh, yes. My wife and I watched that over the weekend, and you need to see it. I cannot even explain this movie. Like, if the ratings from 0 to 10 had a negative scale, it would definitely be way down on a below 0 scale. It's a mess. The only place I know that you can get it is on Amazon. You have to rent it for like $4. It's worth it. It really does something. It affects your mind oddly because you don't even. I still don't know if it's a parody or if it's supposed to be a comedy. I have no idea.
All right. Well, I'll definitely check. Is it in the style of Cruel Intentions 2? Did you ever?
Yes, I did. I wish it were that good. It is not even close. I don't know how well you remember Showgirls 1.
A little bit. I remember a little bit about it.
But remember her dance instructor? I'm saying that even though it would be much easier to say the black guy, I don't want to sound racist.
Yes.
But he got some woman pregnant or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this movie is starring, written by, directed by that woman.
Oh my god. Okay.
And there's a surprisingly large amount of topless scenes featuring her from somebody who wrote the movie that she's starring in.
All right. So she's an exhibitionist. Okay.
I hope so, or a complete idiot, and it could go either way.
She sexually harassed herself to get the job.
It's possible, yes.
Oh, all right. So
That would explain it.
So check that out if you want to for next week, and that's what we'll talk about. But for now, we will see you next time. Bye.
See you next time.